Hey everybody, I'm Stephen Ritz with the Abode team at Keller Williams Winter Park, and Linda's not here today, but we have another member of our team, Natalia Bailey, is going to join us. And
Hello.
hello, there's Natalia. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. She's going to help me today with the topics that we're going to talk about, and part of it's luxury and part of it's COVID. And go right ahead, Natalia. We'll let you start.
Yeah, for sure. There's plenty to talk about when it comes to luxury real estate and COVID right now.
Right.
Surprisingly, to a lot of people, it's actually an amazing time to sell luxury right now. And
Mhm.
even with COVID, even with everything going on. So, we want to talk about that today. We're going to talk about why now is the perfect time to sell a luxury home, even with COVID going on. And
Mhm.
so, this has come up because we know that COVID has been having a really big impact on everyone's lives,
It
but
has right here too.
everyone, but to everyone's amazement, the luxury market has absolutely taken off. Actually, all of the real estate market has taken off during this time, particularly because of the low interest rates and everything like that. And
Right.
so it's the perfect time for people to be selling if they were thinking about selling at all right now. But of course, like as real estate agents, you all are aware of what's going on and you know you have the inside scoop, but people might be worried about that idea of selling right now, even though you're telling them it's the perfect time to sell. They might be worried about
Mhm.
having random people come in and out of their house, or might just be worried about the market still. And so we want to go ahead and address all of that. We want to talk about exactly how COVID has changed luxury real estate, and why it's the perfect time to sell. So
Exactly.
Stephen, why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off with that?
Sure.
Why is now the perfect time to sell luxury?
Well, to answer that question about why it is now, we need to go back just a little bit because back in April and May, people thought it wasn't a good time to sell the home. And the home market really correlates more with the stock market and performance. And even though the market's gone up and down, obviously, since March and COVID hit, it's doing relatively well right now. Yes, we have uncertainty with the election that's coming up. But we're often asked about unemployment numbers and figures and how that affects the real estate market. And to answer the question delicately, it really doesn't figure that much into the luxury real estate market,
Mhm.
the unemployment numbers. They have been going up a little bit, but obviously it's just unprecedented unemployment. So at the beginning of the first quarter, we certainly did see a reduction of international luxury buyers due to travel restrictions. As you can imagine, we're not traveling to go on vacation. They're not traveling to come over here to the United States. But in the first quarter, luxury home prices or sales actually are up 41% year over year for quarter three, I should say. And that's the largest jump from 2013. And I
Yeah.
wrote something down. I'm going to read my little note here
Cool.
because just today I read that nationally, the median price of luxury single family homes increased by 4.8% since January. So
Wow.
since the beginning of the year, luxury home median sales prices of single family homes have actually gone up,
Hmm.
which is surprising. We think about the prices going up in the 300, 200, $400,000 range because of low interest rates, and a lot of luxury homes are purchased with cash.
Yeah.
And so those prices are actually ticking up a little bit. And the numbers show 4.8% since January, and sales volume doubled since May.
Wow.
I know.
Absolutely insane. Like
It really is. It really is.
you all must be so busy, right?
We have been, and we've had a lot of activity on our luxury listings as well too.
Mhm.
And I've been working with some luxury buyers, so that business has been good. But it's certainly not without any negative effects of
Mhm.
COVID on the real estate market as well too.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And so let's talk a little bit about how COVID has specifically affected the real estate market. Could you go
Sure.
ahead and list those ways out for us, please?
Yeah, there's certainly been a few hiccups, of course. Like, for instance, if you're working from home, a lot of people who own luxury properties aren't going into the office. They may work from home, and they may have found out that their spouse may be working from home too. So it's not just normal that you have one office, but you have two. And so if you're listing a home and you want to show the property, you have to work around the schedules of people's office times. So That's been a little bit tricky to do, to set up showings in the middle of the workday, for instance. Normally they're out of the house, but now they're at home all the time. So you talk about another way of effect of COVID on the luxury market is the safety factor. So that's a big thing we all think about. We think about safety when we go to Publix, or grocery stores, or we think about it when we go to have dinner out at a cafe, outside cafe, more than likely here in Florida. For the most part, though, showing a luxury home is following common sense, safe, practical guidelines. And that's set up by the Florida Realtor Association as well. That means that all the guests and the agents who are at the property wear face masks. It's a requirement. It is not a question about it. And to that end, we always have right inside the front door of the foyer, we have a box of disposable face masks. And you know what's next to it?
Sanitizer.
Sanitizer. Okay.
I guessed right.
You're paying attention. That's good. No. So hand sanitizer. So we ask, you don't have to wear gloves because it's just as safe pretty much if you walk into a house and you do the hand sanitizer cleanse, and then anything you touch should be okay. We try to open all the doors anyway for everybody to lessen the amount of contact in the house. So that's something specifically that we did. Recently, we had a client where the husband and wife both worked from home, like I was mentioning before, and it took a long time to do our video, our drone footage, our professional photography, because we needed to work around their schedules, and they moved from one part of the house to another part of the house to another part of the house. And it took a couple hours. So, so that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of getting the property ready to go on the market. And that's sort of that's just one other little issue that we had to deal with COVID.
Okay, got it. So safety in home showings and just the logistics of getting the home prepared have
exactly. Yeah.
Because usually people are out all day at work and you have that time to take the photos, do the 3D tour, etc.
But we had it easy before. You're absolutely right. From the getting the house ready, we had it easy.
Great. Okay, great. So that's one way COVID has changed the way that you are preparing and showing homes. And so before we move on to the other ways, let's go ahead and reintroduce ourselves so that
I'm Stephen Ritz.
And I'm Natalia Bailey.
Hello.
Hi, and we are with Abode at Keller Williams Realty in the Orlando, Florida area. And so today we're talking about why now is actually the perfect time to sell luxury real estate in Orlando, even with COVID. And so moving forward then, Stephen, could you go ahead and talk about some of the biggest effects we've felt as a result of COVID in real estate?
Sure. Buyers really paused at the beginning of COVID. They stopped looking at homes. They said, I'm going to wait till things settle down. And what do? They looked online at home more often than ever. It used to be said 83% of everybody who's thinking about buying a home has seen it already online. Well, that figure has certainly changed. It's more like 98% have already seen the property online. And if they haven't, we're like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have internet?
You have
exactly. So what that means to the person selling the home is that you really need to have a realtor who is offering you all the tools in the tool belt. And that means not just photography with your cell phone going click, 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 click. That means having professional photography because you only make a first impression once. That means having professional video and voiceover. Or 3D tours, for instance, because everyone's sitting at home looking on their iPad or their phone or laptop. And if they're interested in a property, they're going to look at it first, and then they're going to call their agent to go look at it in person. So that's really changed the amount of buyers who are looking at that. So that's why it's so important for sellers to choose the right agent. But sometimes around May, the beginning of June, people started to realize that they were going to be okay. We're going to be here for a while. And so they wanted to get out and start looking at some of the homes at that point. So that's when in-person showings really picked up, at least here in the Central Florida area.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Perfect. Okay. And so then how has COVID changed what buyers are wanting in a house? Has it changed at all?
Sure. It really has. It really has. So one of the first things, especially here in Central Florida, is they want their own pool. So remember, we're talking about luxury home buyers. So this is the perfect time for someone who's right on the cusp Luxury homes here in Central Florida are about 500,000 and up. In Winter Park, it's about 750,000 and up. Maybe the same in Windermere as well too. But what we're finding is it's a great time if they have a home that they might want to sell their existing home and then move up to the luxury market and find a house with a pool. And maybe they're in a condo. We've had clients just this summer who were tired of living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, a nice one with a community pool and everything. But guess what? Community pools closed due to COVID. But if they had their own pool, they could go swimming all the time. So some people are lucky enough that they're able to do that, and they're able to upgrade their homes. So they really want a pool. That's one thing that people are wanting to spend time outside in a screened lanai and have barbecue. And then you can social distance with your neighbors by sitting on your screened lanai. So, wonderful, wonderful situation to be in, obviously. We're also seeing people migrate from the bigger cities to Central Florida because they recognize the compact nature of metropolitan area gives more risk to pandemic spread. So what we're finding, as you can imagine, you've heard about this on the news, probably people escaping to the suburbs in New York or Boston. They're going out to the suburbs of Long Island, or even from New York to Connecticut, and or they're moving to Central Florida or Florida in general because we have tax relief for no state income tax. We also have great weather virtually year round. So a lot of people are moving here to Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, and places like that. So that's a migration effort. The next point I would say is they're looking for homes that have 2 offices. So they're realizing a dining room table and a back bedroom isn't cutting it. So once again, we're talking about luxury home buyers, and those luxury home buyers can afford a house that has a floor plan that really suits them better. So that might mean 1 dedicated home office and then a bonus room that can be used as a home office because they need space to be on their Zoom calls. Maybe they're doing Facebook Live like we are. And, I have my kitchen in my background, but I really could be, I have an office here at the house too. I just choose to do it here in my kitchen. But so a lot of people have that different need for more office space. We also have a different trend that we're noticing too, is the open concept is not as needed or desired because of this working from home aspect. And maybe the kids, if there's children, they're still being taught from home due to remote learning. And so you have to have a home school set up, and then you have to have a place for them to play. Hence the pool comes in during recess. So there's a whole bunch of different aspects that have changed from 2 offices at the home, not as much open concept. And I have to tell you, we have seen larger homes being sold for that very reason, so that there's more spaces. And that's why the luxury home market has still been thriving, even in the midst of a COVID pandemic.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. Basically, our entire needs for where we live are evolving so rapidly with the entire world moving to remote work if they can. I'm sure I can imagine this is one of the first times we're really seeing an influx in people wanting 2 home offices, or everyone wanting a pool, or just lots of leisurely space at home, right? Because if we need to be at home all the time, it better be a great place.
Right. And if you're marketing your house to sell, that's something that you and your agent really need to pick up on for that verbiage to say that's not just a flex space, that's a dedicated home office, or it's a home learning annex, or something along those lines. Got to use that terminology to resonate with people who are looking for something for that.
Yeah, be able to spin the home for what people need now.
Exactly.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so as we can see with COVID, COVID is changing the needs of the buyers in luxury real estate. And so before we keep moving on here, we'll go ahead and stop and reintroduce ourselves for anybody just joining. So I am Natalia Bailey, and you are?
Stephen Ritz with Abode Home Team at Keller Williams Winter Park, Orlando.
Awesome. So today we're talking about why now is the perfect time to sell your luxury home if you're thinking about selling at all. And we're talking about how COVID has affected the luxury home real estate market.
Exactly.
So far we have been covering one, the ways that COVID has changed the precautions that realtors are taking when showing homes. And then two, the fact that luxury home sales are just skyrocketed. And
Right.
three, the ways that COVID has changed the luxury home sale environment and just what buyers are looking for.
Exactly.
And so moving forward here, why don't you go ahead and, Stephen, share a few more of the ways
Sure.
that COVID has been affecting the luxury market?
So I did mention that open concept living has changed, but that doesn't mean that people still don't want an open kitchen and family room where you can bond over meals and things of that. So I'm not talking about going back to the 1950s with individual small rooms.
Right.
I just mean where you don't have a designated separate formal living room or dining room versus a giant great room area concept. So there's still that aspect of open plan living so the family can still be together. I'll clarify that little part too.
Yeah.
And we also then talked about pools as something that has been desirable, but let's take it one step further. These are luxury homes, right? So if you don't want to go to the gym and you have a personal trainer or want to work out yourself, what do you need? You need an exercise room or your own fitness room. And that's certainly your own home gym. And a lot of people, have it in their garage. But if we're talking a luxury home, there's usually a spot somewhere with mirrors on the walls and maybe a dedicated bathroom or shower, and that's your luxury home gym. So that we've seen a proliferation. Did I say that right? Proliferation.
Yep.
Proliferation in home gyms. So that's really become a trend as well. So you don't have to go to the community gym or the gym down the street, for instance.
Yeah,
so in that same vein, the last little point I wanted to bring up is the outdoor entertaining space. Because we talked about the pool, we talked about the home gym. So the outdoor entertaining space and the covered lanai is really where it's being focused, where you have enough backyard space. And I would say, especially people up north, like to have fire pits, because you can sit around a fire pit, 4 to 6 people, very comfortably, social distance, and have a glass of wine or some coffee. And now that it's cooler outside, up north, still 86 degrees today here, but up north it's cooler, and it snowed in New Mexico. I have a friend in New Mexico, and it snowed there. I know, inches and inches. So my point is, open air outside entertaining spaces is another thing that's really been desirable during this whole pandemic. Just another way COVID has changed the luxury buying aspect. And if you're selling something like that, you need to punch that up too in the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's really the way things have changed in the luxury home market. So if you have any questions for us, or you want to ask us anything about the precautions we've taken, we're talking about, that luxury sales are up and buyers are more eager than ever to look for homes that can accommodate their needs. So give us a call. My name is Stephen Ritz with Abode at Keller Williams Winter Park. So it's Stephen@abodehometeam.com is my contact information, or Stephen, my phone number is 321-277-8271. And of course, if you've liked this video, feel free to share it. That's how we get the word out. Right, Natalia? Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Absolutely.
But feel free to message us directly through Facebook as well, too, of course. And if you'd like to buy a home or sell a luxury home or get an idea for your value, we're here to help you with that too.
Perfect. All right. Well, those were some great tips, and that was some great information about the luxury home market now. Thank you, Stephen.
Absolutely. We'll be on track to do something else and cover some other interesting topic next week too, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.